Yo, what's poppin', guys? Sizzle here, and today we're taking a look at the Operation Breakout case. So this time, we're looking at the Negev Desert Strike, which, yeah, it's a Negev. It's got some tan on it, but, otherwise it's just, like, stock, pretty much. I mean, it actually looks a bit clean, so at least they gave it that. It's a lot more, like, shiny and less scratch than stock, but that really isn't enough for me to say, like, you should ever get this, so... For me, this isn't different enough from the base skin, so it's just going to be an F tier. Even though the skin's actually decent looking. I'll be good with that. Then we have the MP7 Urban Hazard, kind of the standard go-to cheap MP7 skin. And I can kind of see why. The orange top, like middle and bottom, help it stand out a lot so someone knows you have a skin. And otherwise, it's just got a very basic black kind of camo background, which looks somewhat alright, or gray, sorry, not black. It just looks decent. I mean, gray and orange is a really nice looking color scheme. Um, that being said, it's still not a phenomenal design, even though I did say it's like the go-to cheap one. It still kind of belongs in D tier. Now we have the UMP45 Labyrinth. I don't know what about this Labyrinth, but it's a very white UMP, a lot more white than the default, and it has some random orange lines that I guess are supposed to be a labyrinth. They definitely aren't though. Not sure who thought they were and who thought that was enough for a skin. I think the base UMP is already kind of white, so you might as well just stick with the stock UMP and not use the skin. So it's another F tier, and it looks less clean than the Gev did, honestly. Next up was the P2000 Ivory, which, yeah, it's a ivory bottom for the P2000, and your hand covers pretty much the entire part of the skin that is different from stock. So even though this one is a good amount different, right? It's very just very simple white and black. You're not gonna really notice the difference in game. All you're gonna see is this bottom white tip here, which I guess is nice for some people, but for me, I'd say honestly just stick with stock if you're gonna be using this skin. It's not really worth the money. That's another F tier. They're just very similar to stock. Then we have the Scout Abyss or SSGO8 Abyss. Very kind of cool looking light blue, dark blue kind of marble finish to it. Except for some reason the main barrel remains untextured, and the back also and the handle as well are all untextured. It's kind of weird how it's like only half finished. Not really a fan of that, but otherwise it's a somewhat okay looking skin. It's definitely different from stock. You can see it very well in the scope, obviously, with this very vibrant light blue here. And the base body being blue is kind of nice too. So for me, it's a solid blue D tier. Not really that great of a skin. Then we have the PP Bison Osiris, one of the few PP Bison skins that affect the entire skin. Uh, this is a lower factory one, but still, that's an awful lot of scratches. It's probably just because it's an old case. But yeah, looking at it, it's very nice, clean, black, white, and orange finish. Kind of gives that almost like futuristic type vibe look or whatever. You know what it's called? Like minimalistic. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's like the thing that a lot of people like in their houses and whatever. Gives off that type of vibe. With a very solid looking color scheme, very noticeable skin, and I definitely say you can't go wrong using this one. So for me, it is actually a C tier skin. Then next up, we have the CZ Auto Tigress, which, yeah, it's a nice tiger finish with a very cool, almost sunset looking fade on the back here. Unfortunately, you're really going to see this type of fade, but whenever you do, that is a dope ass fade. And the rest of the skin looks absolutely beautiful, very vibrant. This is a very good fact new one though, so maybe there'll be more scratches on a non super high fact new one. 0.007 is pretty high. Or low, sorry. But it looks fucking beautiful. I'm gonna be honest. Probably one of the best CZ skins in the game. Easy A tier, possibly even S. It's got a beautiful color scheme, beautiful design. The color orange is amazing, and the fade in the back is just beautiful. Honestly, you know what? I'm gonna put this in S tier. It's actually a fucking amazing skin. Probably just underrated because the CZ is so kind of mediocre. Anyway, then we have the P250 Supernova, and I know this one's kind of pattern based, but generally it's just kind of like an explosion on a skin, which leads to a lot of very unique color schemes and like kind of designs. And they all look somewhat okay. I'd say definitely can't go wrong with this. It's very noticeably different from stock, and the colors used in the explosion and like the plane in the background are solid. I can't say you go too wrong with it, so I'm gonna put it as a low C tier. Probably a high D tier is probably a better placement, but yeah, low C tier still works. Then we have the Nova Koi, which actually replaces the front with a different finish. It almost looked like stock for a second, but it's not. And the back of it is just a koi fish kind of pattern. It just looks nice and clean. Definitely can't go wrong with this. I can't say you can go too right with this though. I mean, it's nothing crazy. Just a koi pattern. But yeah, very solid C tier. Then we have our first pink, the 5.7 foul play, which the bottom of this weapon is all stock, and then the top is a light blue with some feathers on it. Really does not look that great. I can't say it looks horrible, but I really can't say it looks that great. For me, it's a lower D tier skin, probably toward the middle of what we have there so far. And we have the Desert Eagle Conspiracy, which normally doesn't have that sticker, but that is a nice craft if it's the skin you're going for to replace that with the Drug War Veterans. Pretty nice change. And it's just a nice, solid, darker colored deagle with a golden line along the bottom and like a little patch right here. But it's really just a black version of the deagle, which is normally silver. Which normally, like I normally say, like it's not different from stock, but honestly, this one kind of is, and it just looks kind of a lot more clean than stock, especially with almost like the yellow goldish barrel. I'm gonna say this honestly, a C tier skin. It just looks solid. It's definitely not amazing. It's not like some crazy stuff, but it's a really solid swap for the base Deagle skin. Then we have the Glock 18 Water Elemental, which has like a water spirit kind of coming through the weapon, and the base background is a very nice kind of red design. I don't even know what you'd call this type of pattern or whatever, but it looks really good with the actual water element thing. The back doesn't look as nice. Hopefully this isn't a pattern-based one because I wouldn't want to see this on the weapon. It doesn't look like anything. But on the front, it's very clearly like a water spirit kind of splashing along your gun, and the color scheme is absolutely beautiful. So for me, this is an easy B tier, going very close to A tier, but it's a high B tier instead. Then we have the M4A1S Cyrex. Has a little the counter CSGO logo right here, and then otherwise just a very solid color scheme of like a red, black, and white instead of orange, black, and white. Pretty much has all the same positives of the Osiris, but the color red makes it look a lot nicer than the Osiris in my opinion, to the point where I think this is honestly a B tier skin. Still definitely worse than the Water Elemental though. And our final skin for this collection is the P90 Asimov. Very, very clean. I just love Asimovs, and this is a very good use of the Asimov skin. Primarily white, some warning stuff here, and then a lot of like crosshairs and all the other kind of stuff. I don't know how to even describe why the Asimov is so good. It's just kind of iconic, I guess. I really like the look of it. It's very bright, very vibrant, very noticeable, and it just looks clean. So for me, that's an easy A tier. And that is it for the Breakout collection. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.